And the Indiana Fever have pulled off the upset, the 6th seed, beating Vegas 89-73 to take Game 1.
Everyone said the Indiana Fever didn't stand a chance. ESPN analysts dismissed them, odds makers laughed, and even the two-time champion Las Vegas Aces expected an easy sweep. But on the very night Aya Wilson was crowned MVP, in front of a packed Aces home crowd, the Fever shocked the world by stealing Game 1. Missing 6 players, they flipped the entire script with heart, hustle, and grit. This wasn't just an upset, it was a statement. And after the game, Caitlin Clark delivered a message to her teammates that's now got everyone talking. If you're fired up with the Fever, drop a fired up in the comments and show your pride for this squad. When a team enters the playoffs missing 6 players, written off by analysts, and facing the reigning two-time champs, you get the Indiana Fever's ultimate test of belief. A night meant to celebrate someone else became their defining moment. A shocking reminder that heart can rewrite any script.
Particular matchup, Aces Fever Game 1. We're not deciding the whole series right now, just Game 1.
Should we do it together?
I think we should do it together.
Okay.
Because my spidey sense are telling me they might be the same. 3, 2, 1.
Aces.
They're not going to lose after she just won MVP.
Yeah, period.
There's no way.
No way.
Okay,
No way.
From the start, this series was painted as a mismatch. ESPN analysts called it predictable, and sportsbooks made the odds so one-sided that betting on the Aces' margin of victory was easier than picking an Indiana win. Even the pre-game language reflected it. Headlines spoke of survival, not success. The narrative was set. Las Vegas was supposed to cruise to another finals appearance. For the Fever, just avoiding embarrassment was considered a win. No one expected a fight, let alone a shakeup. But Indiana had other plans and something to prove.
Indiana Fever had no business winning a playoff series this year, had no business advancing to the semifinals for the first time in a decade, and yet here they are, eliminating the Atlanta Dream in Atlanta without Caitlin Clark, without Sophie Cunningham, without Sid Colson, without Erin McDonald, without Chloe Bibby. The hospital squad is on the bench, and yet the Indiana Fever are into the semifinals of the WNBA playoffs.
Then came the injury list. Caitlin Clark out, Sophie Cunningham gone, Sydney Colson, Chloe BBY, Ari McDonald, Damiris Dantas, all sidelined, 6 players missing. The Fever didn't look like a playoff team. They looked held together by tape. This wasn't just an underdog story anymore. People called them lucky to even be there, like their season was already over.
And then the coaching of Stephanie White. She is working with a 9-woman rotation, and 5 of those players did not even touch the court the last time the Fever played the Dream during the regular season, and 3 of those players weren't even on the team. I cannot say it enough. The Indiana Fever should not be here. They continue to be here. They battle. They're resilient. It's wildly impressive. Caitlin Clark wore the black Air Force Ones again. They had one of those forces lifted in the air like a beacon of hope, and now they'll face the Ace.
Picture the scene in Las Vegas before tip-off. Championship banners overhead, a crowd ready to celebrate, and Aya Wilson honored at center court with her MVP trophy. It wasn't just recognition. It was the expected script. Vegas was a powerhouse. Indiana, just a backdrop. The Fever weren't just underdogs. They were invisible, treated as an afterthought in their own semifinal debut. But they were about to change that narrative.
You actually just referenced it twice. It is Indiana. Dropped 2 of the 3 games to them this year, but you haven't seen them since late July. What excites you about this matchup?
That they haven't seen the real Aces yet. They caught us when we were at a bit in turmoil. Not only that, they whooped us one of those stretches. So, you know what? We'll buckle in, hone in where we can, and take care of business.
Sports have a way of flipping the script when expectations are at their highest and most rigid. Think of the great underdog stories. Teams dismissed before tip-off, lineups doubted, matchups labeled mismatches. That's exactly where the Indiana Fever found themselves. But as the game began, you could feel something shift. This wasn't just game on a playoff series. It was Indiana's chance to claim a seat at the table and demand respect. By the final buzzer, everything had changed. The spotlight meant for Aya Wilson's MVP celebration dimmed. The Fever had stolen the moment and the game with a commanding 89-73 win. It was their first semifinal victory in nearly a decade, and the basketball world was left stunned. But the biggest shock of the night didn't come from the team alone. It came from one player who stepped into the chaos and turned it into her own stage.
Respect everyone, fear no one. Sounds Dub.
While all eyes were on Aya Wilson raising her MVP trophy, no one saw Kelsey Mitchell coming, and she flipped the entire script. This was supposed to be Wilson's night, the defending champs cruising home, the outcome already assumed before tip-off. But Mitchell had other plans. She refused to let Indiana be a mere footnote, turning the semifinal opener into her personal showcase. By the end of the night, the spotlight had shifted, and so had the conversation across the entire league.
First semifinal appearance. Just what's your emotional state right now?
Normal, I think. Practice, trying to prepare like anybody else would, like any other day.
Kelsey Mitchell has long been respected as one of the WNBA's top scorers, but she's often overlooked, mentioned after the league's bigger names. Heading into this series, the spotlight was on Aya Wilson's dominance, whether Jackie Young and Chelsea Gray would overpower the Fever, and if Indiana could even compete. Almost no one was talking about Mitchell as a difference maker, but true to form, she didn't need hype, just a ball in her hands. As she's done throughout her career, Mitchell responded not with words, but with a performance that spoke louder than any expectations placed around her.
Your younger self.
Yeah.
How would you explain to her to make sure that you give yourself grace and give you the flowers that you so well and deserve?
Ooh, I think the best thing I could have done was I had a long list. I wrote down a list of all the times I could have quit being a pro, playing with the Indiana Fever. I wrote down all the people that wrote me off. I wrote it down on a list. I wrote down all the coaches that didn't want me around. I wrote down all the media outlets that didn't want to talk to me. I think that within itself is like, you got to tell your younger self not to give up on you. Because it's been a lot of times I could have given up when I know a lot of people that talk to me now weren't talking to me, and I know what it was like when they wasn't. So that part is big for me.
Mitchell didn't just score. She scored in every way imaginable. Mid-range pull-ups with defenders draped on her, deep threes when the Aces gave her even a sliver of space, and flawless execution at the line, going a perfect 6 for 6. She attacked from all angles, inside, outside, and everywhere between, looking absolutely untouchable. By the end of the night, she had poured in 34 points on 12 of 23 shooting, including 4 of 6 from beyond the arc. It wasn't just efficient. It was relentless, a masterclass in scoring that left the Aces scrambling and the league taking notice.
That time, keeping the pivot foot alive and going strong side for Wilson.
Mitchell this time finds a lane to the basket. Inside to Turner. Nice look from Mitchell, which follows 5 Eastern time on ESPN. Mitchell. Lot of arc on that and a couple of bounces.
That 34-point explosion wasn't just a big night. It was historic. No Fever player had scored over 30 in a playoff game since 2012, and no one in WNBA history had ever put up that many in their first ever semifinal appearance. Kelsey Mitchell didn't just join names like Lauren Jackson and Cynthia Cooper. She passed them. Think about that. On the biggest stage of her career, against the defending champions. With a spotlight on Aya Wilson's MVP celebration, Mitchell didn't flinch. She made history, shattered records, and etched her name into WNBA postseason lore.